Hello everyone, let's return to this study routine. My name is Anderson, a PhD student at University of Brescia. I'm a mechanical engineer, graduated in Brazil, and I'm in Italy since 2021 when I came here um, to do a master degree in advanced automotive engineering at Brescia at Modena University. And now I'm in the PhD about hardware. Let's continue. So I stopped in the topic of rubber friction with temperature. Uh, Rubber friction with temperature, flash temperature effects. So let's continue. Well, tires has a complex relationship with temperature, but this is mostly due to the weak viscoelastic properties of the rubber. So it is important to understand the fundamental behavior of rubber during friction and then temperature. So this is the point. So the theory behind this relationship regards just a second. Regards the equation of heat diffusion. The heat regards the heat diffusion theory. Just a moment. Okay, here is okay, everything is okay. Okay. Transmission is okay, so we close. Okay, let's start. So the Hubble theory, when we are considering the temperature effects, regards the heat diffusion, which can be defined by the equation that I will show you the equation. Let's show you again. So Pearson here, page 779. Regards this equation that I will show. So, okay, regards the heat diffusion equation, which is given by partial temperature, no, the partial derivative of the temperature by the time. So let's write this. I believe it is important to write this at the start point. So the T. So time derivative of the equation minus of the temperature by the time, the heat diffusion, diffusivity, the gradient nabla, square value, which is gradient. We are evaluating the gradient of the temperature, so related to surface. So we have components temperature x, temperature y, okay, and then temperature. So the gradient of the temperature equal fraction of dot Q, the variation of the energy. So inside we have negrito, bold letter in latex. Né? Como escrever? Ok. Text BF X. So the variation of the energy in function of our vector, position vector X. For this reason it is written in bold letter, which means that it is a vector xy. And T, okay, which is time, divided by rho, which is the density, and specific heat, the volumetric one. Okay. So, as already known, the sliding friction of the rubber against rough surface, rough hard surface, results in fluctuations on results on fluctuations on the friction force, and this is the hysteresis one, due to the asperities. This occurs with a frequency defined omega 0 equal to same, which has the same magnitude order as V divided by D. Same magnitude order as V divided by D. Thus, the energy will be dissipated in the asperity in the rubber surface through a element of volume, through a volume D a volume of order D cubic value, and then speed Peterson 2006-1. Okay. Why? This is the usual definition. D corresponds to the aspects, so it's important. It is worth mentioning. That B corresponds to the aspect length or diameter, but we can say length. Okay. Now, let's die opposed to. Grazie mille. So at very high velocities, the time period in which the rubber passed the asperity will be very small. Yeah, it will be very small. We can obtain this time period dividing the distance, the size of the asperity by the velocity. So thus at very high velocities, the time under friction in a single asperity will be very small. Not very small, will be put very small in the correction. I think very small. And then let's put here time. That's D divided by V. Okay, very small. Okay. Then, with this consideration, this assumption, we can say from this observation, it is possible to write the temperature variation as as we write this delta t. I will show you this delta t here. Let's see. Now, it's delta t. Okay. Delta t equals, no, approximately equal, approximately is Q divided by rho times the volumetric specific heat, where Q is the frictional energy. Q is the energy generated at the contact interface with the friction. Okay. This will be this is 1 dissipated by the elemental volume d3. Proper volumes the cubic value. Period. Okay. The heat diffusion can be minimal if some conditions is reached by the application, rubber by the application. According to Pearson, our friends, for this mean through the carefully. Must be smaller than the diffusion time, which is given by the square value divided by the capital letter, where the capital letter is the heat diffusivity. Diffusivity D equal to lambda. Lambda here is not the wavelength, it's important to mention. Lambda divided by rho in specific heat, volumetric specific heat. Lambda is heat conductivity. Hence, considering rubber is a species. What time is it? 17:22. Can you write some real difference? Pearson explained in this topic two ways of define the rubber friction as a function of the flash temperature. One consider single asperity, and the other considering multi-asperity case. Okay. for simplicity. Um, So, rubber friction is described by a multi-scale approach in the skies of peers. So, there are a numerous wavelengths, wavelength scales describing the asperities, the surface asperities. For simplicity, an elementary case of a single asperity, single length scale, single length, what the fuck, single length scale case will be considered. Considered to demonstrate how the double LF transform concept of equation, no, no. The double LF transformation and theory, I put here Williams 1955, Williams or Williams? Yeah, Williams 1950 fucking 5. I see here Williams 1955 demonstrate how the WIF transform can be applied, and the main the fundamental rubber behavior in function of frequency and temperature. Yes. Pronto. Tá escrito aqui. It is now. Okay. Nice. Okay. Okay, so we saw that um, Pearson considered the heat diffusion equation and assumes a condition that the heat diffusion is negligible. Why? To simplify the equation. And then find rather fast the uh, the main relationships between temperature, velocity or frequency and the elastic models. The author starts from the heat diffusion equation and the theory of the oscillations due to the asperities, which is the one behind the hysteresis friction coefficient. So the author is here describing the hysteresis friction coefficient. And then, as I wrote here and I show it in the PDF, the author starts from this equation, simplify by conditions in which the heat diffusion is negligible. Why is negligible? Because the velocity that slides over the surface is higher than the velocity, no, the velocity divided by the asperity results in a frequency which is higher, which is higher results in a frequency which is higher than the frequency omega 1, which is the frequency when the tangent delta, the tangent, no, the, the loss, the loss tangent is higher, which is the division, the quotient between the real part, no, the imaginary elastic modulus and the real elastic modulus. Okay, so when this is maximum, I have the transition zone. The frequency is defined by omega 1. Omega 0 is our frequency, V divided by D, the length scale. When this became higher than omega 1, our friction increases with temperature. If it is below 1, omega 1, our friction decreases with increasing temperature. So, considering tire application, because I was writing here for tires, which is a subtopic of my rubber friction topic. The author observes that tires barely reaches a condition in which omega 0 is higher than omega 1. And this is our situation. Next video, I will describe this single length scale case and then starts to the multi-scale case, which has also two conditions: stationary multi-scale and non-stationary sliding. Okay, see you in the next video, or see nobody in the